Welcome to our deep dive into the evolving role of dad. You shared Conrad Riker's book, Rise of the Involved Dad, Shattering the Father Archetype, and from what I'm seeing, it looks like it challenges some conventional thinking about fatherhood. It promises a deep dive into the science, psychology, and cultural influences on fatherhood. We're going to be exploring everything from evolutionary biology to the impact of pop culture. So buckle up.
It's fascinating how this book tackles those often unspoken expectations surrounding dads, both the historical ones and those we see playing out today.
Right, and we've all seen those classic father figures, the distant authoritative types focused on discipline and providing for the family. Think Ward Cleaver from Leave It to Beaver, a classic example Riker uses. But the book argues that this archetype doesn't represent the whole picture, does it?
Not at all. Riker contrasts that image with what he calls the involved dad, a dad who's actively participating in caregiving, emotional support, and his child's development. It's more like Danny Tanner from Full House, a single dad deeply involved in raising his kids.
That shift from distant provider to involved caregiver is really at the heart of Riker's argument, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And to understand this shift, Riker takes us all the way back to our evolutionary roots. He dives into the concept of paternity uncertainty, the idea that throughout human history, men couldn't always be certain a child was biologically there. It's a fascinating concept that has implications for how we understand fatherhood.
He uses this striking example of chimpanzees. Male chimps are fiercely territorial, engaging in aggressive mate-guarding behaviors to ensure their paternity. It really highlights that primal drive, doesn't it?
It really does. And what Riker argues is that this ancient drive to ensure paternity has influenced how fatherhood has been viewed throughout history. He traces it through hunter-gatherer societies to the Industrial Revolution, showing how societal structures and expectations around men's roles evolved.
So how does this evolutionary history connect to the challenges modern dads face? Riker points out that over 25% of children in the U.S. live without their biological father. A pretty sobering statistic. What does he say about the impact of fatherlessness?
Riker doesn't sugarcoat it. He discusses the potential consequences, increased risks of delinquency, addiction, and mental health issues for children. But he also highlights stories of resilience, like Barack Obama's journey to becoming president despite an absent father. He emphasizes that a father's active presence and early bonding with their child can make a world of difference in mitigating those risks.
It makes you wonder about the pressures and expectations modern dads face, balancing work and family, navigating societal expectations, and even coming to terms with their own evolving understanding of what it means to be a father.
Exactly. And the book doesn't shy away from those challenges. One really crucial point Riker raises is the importance of addressing paternal mental health, something that's often overlooked. He highlights that fathers experience stress, anxiety, and even postpartum depression, just like mothers.
It's so important to acknowledge that, right? Especially with those traditional notions of masculinity that discourage men from seeking help, leading to silent struggles that can impact the whole family.
Riker challenges those outdated notions head on. He shares personal anecdotes from fathers facing mental health challenges, really highlighting the need for open communication and support systems. And what's particularly interesting is how he explores the interplay between mothers and fathers in shaping these expectations.
He uses that Leave It to Beaver example again. Doesn't he June Cleaver the picture-perfect homemaker while Ward kind of pops in and out? Riker suggests that mothers can both reinforce and challenge these expectations, ultimately shaping how involved fathers are in their family.
He poses a really thought-provoking question for the listener. How can couples work together to redefine fatherhood within their own families? How can they break free from those traditional roles to create a more equitable and fulfilling dynamic? It's interesting how Riker points out that this shift towards involved fatherhood isn't happening in isolation. There are so many factors influencing it, including changes in the workplace.
That's a great point. We touched on the rise of remote work earlier, and Riker argues that the traditional 9-to-5 office job can make it incredibly difficult for fathers to be truly present in their children's lives. It's a structure that was designed for a different era, wasn't it?
Exactly. He shares a compelling anecdote about a father who could only connect with his kids on weekends or holidays before he started working remotely. But when he began working from home, he was suddenly able to participate in school pickups, attend after-school activities, and even just be there for dinner every night. It transformed their relationship.
That makes me think about all the fathers who miss out on those everyday moments because of work demands. Riker suggests that this shift towards more flexible work arrangements benefits not only fathers and their children, but society as a whole.
He makes a strong case for that. He links involved fatherhood to all sorts of positive outcomes for children. Better academic performance, lower rates of delinquency, increased emotional well-being. The research is compelling.
He even cites a study that found children with involved fathers were less likely to engage in risky behaviors like substance abuse. That's powerful evidence for the impact fathers can have.
And here's where Riker's analysis gets really thought-provoking. He challenges the traditional view of the father as the primary financial provider, the breadwinner. He argues that in today's world, where both parents often work, that perspective can be outdated and even harmful.
It's true. That expectation puts immense pressure on fathers to shoulder the entire financial burden, which can lead to stress, burnout, and resentment.
And on the flip side, it can make mothers feel like their contributions are less valuable if they're not the primary breadwinner. It creates an imbalance in the relationship.
Riker challenges this by showcasing couples who share financial responsibilities more equally. He suggests that this kind of partnership can lead to a more balanced and fulfilling family dynamic for everyone.
It's about moving away from rigid gender roles and embracing a more collaborative approach to both parenting and finance. It's a
I
partnership.
found it fascinating how the book explores the role of mothers in supporting involved fatherhood. It's not just about dads stepping up. It's about creating a dynamic where both parents are encouraging and supporting each other.
Absolutely. Riker argues that mothers have a significant influence on how fathers engage with their children. They can either reinforce those traditional distant father roles, or they can actively encourage their partners to be more involved and nurturing.
He shares a contrasting example of a mother who constantly criticized her husband's parenting, eroding his confidence and making him feel inadequate. It created a toxic dynamic in their family.
And then he juxtaposes that with a mother who consciously supported her husband's involvement. She encouraged him to spend time with their kids, praised his efforts, and created a space where he felt comfortable learning and growing as a father. The difference was night and day.
It really highlights the importance of open communication and teamwork in parenting. It's a partnership, and both parents need to be on the same page.
Riker brings us back to his point about challenging traditional notions of masculinity. He argues that men are often taught to suppress their emotions, to be strong and stoic, and to avoid appearing weak or vulnerable.
It's that boys don't cry mentality, isn't it? Riker argues that this can actually hinder involved fatherhood.
He does. He suggests it makes it difficult for fathers to connect with their children on an emotional level and can prevent them from seeking help when they're struggling. It's about allowing yourself to be vulnerable.
Riker encourages fathers to be more open about their feelings, to show vulnerability, and to challenge those societal expectations. He even shares a powerful anecdote of a father who finally broke down and cried in front of his son after a particularly tough day.
Now, what happened?
Instead of judging him, his son simply hugged him and said it was okay to be sad. It was a turning point in their relationship.
It's a powerful reminder that embracing vulnerability can make us stronger, both as fathers and as human beings. It allows for genuine connection.
Riker then shifts his focus to the historical and cultural influences that have shaped our understanding of fatherhood. He takes us back to ancient civilizations, comparing how fatherhood was viewed in different societies.
He contrasts the Roman Empire, where fathers held absolute authority, with ancient Greece, where they were seen more as mentors and guides. It's fascinating to see how these cultural differences have shaped our modern perceptions.
Riker also delves into how fatherhood has been depicted in literature, mythology, and religion throughout history, from the wise Odin of Norse mythology to the complex and often tragic fathers in Shakespearean plays.
He even discusses how biblical interpretations have been used to justify both positive and negative views of fatherhood. It's a reminder that our understanding of fatherhood is constantly evolving, and there's no single definitive answer.
One thing that really struck me was his discussion of the impact of technology on father-child relationship. While acknowledging the potential downsides like screen addiction and cyberbullying, he also points out the benefits.
He talks about how video calls can bridge the distance when fathers travel for work or live in different cities. And he highlights the value of online parenting communities offering fathers support and advice.
Riker even suggests that technology can be used to create new family traditions and rituals, like playing online games together or sharing funny videos. It's about finding a balance.
Exactly. It's about using technology in a way that enhances rather than detracts from real-life connections. It's about being mindful.
And speaking of mindfulness, Riker dedicates a whole chapter to the importance of self-care for fathers.
He reminds us that taking care of your physical and mental health is crucial to being a good dad. He encourages fathers to prioritize exercise, healthy eating, stress reduction, and even sleep.
He even shares a humorous anecdote about a sleep-deprived dad who accidentally put his baby's diaper on his own head. It's a lighthearted reminder that self-care is essential.
It's not selfish, it's an act of love for yourself and your family.
One of the things I admire about this book is how Riker tackles those tough topics that are often swept under the rug, things like divorce, infidelity, and addiction. He approaches these sensitive issues with compassion and understanding, offering guidance on how to navigate them in a way that minimizes harm to children.
He even stresses the importance of forgiveness, both for ourselves and others, sharing a story about a father and son who were estranged for years but eventually reconciled and rebuilt their relationship.
It's a reminder that even when things go wrong, there's always hope for healing. And that brings us to one of the book's most powerful messages. It's never too late to become a more involved dad.
Riker emphasizes that fatherhood is a journey, not a destination full of mistakes and challenges. But he encourages fathers to be patient with themselves, to seek help when needed, and never to give up on their children.
He even encourages therapy as a resource for fathers struggling with issues like anger, depression, or addiction.
It's a sign of strength, not weakness, to seek help when you need it.
Riker then circles back to the concept of masculinity, arguing that the traditional view of manhood as defined by strength, dominance, and emotional stoicism is limiting.
He proposes a more expansive view of masculinity, one that embraces emotional availability, good communication, and putting family first.
He talks about how fathers can model these qualities for their children, both through words and actions, encouraging them to challenge gender stereotypes.
It's about raising a generation of boys who are comfortable expressing their emotions and being nurturing and caring.
And of course, it's not just about sons. Riker emphasizes the importance of fathers being emotionally available for their daughters as well.
He discusses the profound impact a father's relationship can have on a daughter's self-esteem, body image, and future relationship.
It's about building strong, loving bonds that will last a lifetime.
One of the most poignant points Riker makes is the importance of letting go. He talks about how as our children grow older, we need to give them more independence and allow them to make their own mistakes, even if it's hard to watch.
He shares a touching story about a father struggling to accept his son going off to college. He wanted to protect him, but knew it was time to let go.
It's a reminder that our role as fathers is to prepare our children for the world, not to shield them from it.
And sometimes the most loving thing we can do is step back and allow them to spread their wings.
This deep dive into Rise of the Involved Dad has been incredibly insightful. It's a book that challenges conventional thinking about fatherhood and offers a fresh perspective on the evolving role of dads.
It's given me a lot to think about personally, and I'm sure our listener will find it equally thought-provoking.
I think the key takeaway is that involved fatherhood is about so much more than just doing the right thing. It's about personal growth, about challenging outdated expectations, and about creating a lasting legacy of love and connection.
Riker's book is a call to action for fathers to step up, embrace their role, and become the best versions of themselves. We've covered a lot, but there's always more to explore. We'll take a brief pause to reflect, and we'll be back in a moment to wrap up this deep dive with some final thoughts and insights. As we've been talking about Riker's book, I keep thinking about how he portrays fatherhood as a continuous process of growth and transformation.
Yeah, it's not about some unattainable ideal. It's not about perfection, but about the willingness to learn and adapt to continually become better versions of ourselves as dad.
He uses this powerful analogy as a sculptor painstakingly chipping away at a block of stone to reveal the masterpiece within. And he's suggesting that fatherhood is a similar process, like chiseling away at our rough edges, our preconceived notions to become the fathers our children need us to be.
It really is a journey of self-discovery, refinement, a process that requires introspection and a commitment to personal growth.
And he also emphasizes the importance of just being present in the moment, fully engaged with our children. He shares a kind of poignant anecdote about a father who was so consumed by work that he missed his son's first steps.
Oh, wow.
It serves as a reminder, I think, to all of us that those precious moments are fleeting and that we really have to make a conscious effort to savor them. We can't afford to be distracted by the demands of work or the allure of technology.
Right.
He even suggests something that might seem kind of radical to some people, putting away our phones, turning off the TV, and just simply focusing on being present with our kids, even if it's just for a few minutes each day.
Yeah, I think that's
those small moments
of
of genuine connection can have a profound impact on our children's lives. They build a foundation of trust, create lasting memory.
Absolutely.
The Riker shifts his focus to the importance of being positive role models for our children.
Right.
It's not just about telling them what to do, but about embodying the values and behaviors we want them to emulate. He emphasizes the importance of honesty, respect, responsibility, kindness, reminding us that our actions speak louder than words. He even suggests something that, again, might seem counterintuitive to some, apologizing to our children when we make mistakes. It's about teaching them humility, accountability, showing them that it's okay to be imperfect as long as we strive to do better.
I like that.
It's about modeling a growth mindset, demonstrating that learning and personal growth are lifelong pursuits.
Absolutely.
Riker also delves into the importance of emotional availability, particularly for boys who often struggle to express their feelings.
It's so important.
He argues that fathers play a vital role in helping their sons develop emotional intelligence, encouraging them to talk about their feelings, listen without judgment, validate their emotions. He suggests engaging in activities that foster emotional expression, like writing poetry, playing music.
Oh, yeah.
It's about creating a safe and supportive environment where boys feel comfortable being vulnerable, sharing their inner world.
That's huge.
And of course, emotional availability is crucial for daughters as well.
Right.
Riker emphasizes that girls need their father's love, affirmation, and support just as much as boys do.
Absolutely.
He highlights how a father's relationship with his daughter can profoundly impact her self-esteem, body image, future relationships.
It's true.
It's about fostering a sense of security, and Riker encourages fathers to spend quality time with their daughters, listen attentively to their concerns, and celebrate their accomplishments. It's about building a strong and loving bond that will provide a foundation for healthy relationships throughout her life. And one of the most thought-provoking concepts Riker explores is the importance of letting go.
Oh, yeah.
He reminds us that as our children mature, we need to grant them more independence, allow them to navigate the world, even if it means making mistakes along the way.
It's hard.
He tells a poignant story about a father struggling to accept his son's departure for college. He yearned to shield him from the challenges ahead, but recognized the necessity of letting go. It's a powerful reminder that our role as fathers is to equip our children with the tools they need to thrive in the world, not to shelter them from its inevitable bumps and bruises. It's about fostering resilience, independence, trusting that they have the strength and capability to face whatever comes their way.
I think that's one of the most important lessons.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
And our deep dive into Rise of the Involved Dad has been both illuminating and inspiring.
I agree.
Riker's book challenges us to re-examine our assumptions about fatherhood, embrace a more nuanced and fulfilling role as dads in the 21st century.
It's a good book.
It's a call to action for fathers to step up, be present, engage fully in the lives of their children. It's about recognizing the profound impact we have and striving to leave a positive and lasting legacy.
Well said.
If you're ready to embark on this journey of growth and transformation, I highly recommend checking out Rise of the Involved Dad, Shattering the Father Archetype by Conrad Riker. You can find it on Amazon Kindle and Google Play Books.
Absolutely.
It's a book that will challenge your thinking, inspire you to action, ultimately help you become the best father you can be. That wraps up our deep dive for today. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time for another insightful exploration.